What is happening guys, GT5K101 here and welcome to my preview for the 2014 Japanese Grand Prix at the Suzuka International Circuit, just 20 miles from the third largest city in Japan, Nagoya. Now first of all, I would just like to apologise, as I always do, for the lack of uploads. I've started a new course in college and I just wanted to make sure that that's all set up. Make sure that I'm secure as well. Yeah, I just cocked up that quite a bit, but you just make sure that I've got everything at college sorted. But now I'm pretty much in the groove now. Work is a bit calm as well, so which meant that I can now make videos. Yeah, and hoping to make some videos over the next couple of weeks leading up to the launch of F1 2014, which I don't even know if we'll get a launch. I just need to see what happens with money wise, but I'm pretty happy that I've now got college fees sorted and I'm getting a varsity as well. But anyway, enough of my social life and my educational life and my personal life. Let's talk about Formula 1 life. So, the Japanese Grand Prix, one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, probably second to Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is probably... Well, actually, I kept on saying that Abu Dhabi is my favourite, but well, right now you're seeing gameplay of me driving Senna's 1985, 1970, is it? 95T or something like that, I don't know. But it's the Lotus that he drove in 1985 season, the car which he won his first race with. I'm just driving it down this track, and obviously it might be an 80s F1 car, but still it's probably my favourite track ever. And Abu Dhabi is the second one. I like Abu Dhabi, it's a nice fun track to drive in. People say it's a pain in the arse, but I like it. That's just me. I'm a special kind of guy who likes those kind of tracks. Let's cut that corner up. But anyway, let's look at some F1 news before we look into the season properly. Now, McLaren, the biggest talking point of this week, and from Singapore to this weekend. Will McLaren reveal their driver lineup for next season? Now, Jenson Button is strongly rumoured to be replaced by Fernando Alonso, even though Fernando Alonso and Jenson Button, both of them are saying that Alonso won't leave Ferrari or won't join McLaren, and Jenson Button won't leave McLaren because, well, it's a tricky situation because, okay, I'm not a proper Jenson Button fan. I mean, I respect him. I mean, he's probably, for me, he's probably one of the best drivers on the grid. He's the oldest driver on the grid, but that doesn't mean that he's slow. I mean, he's 72 points. He's got 72 points. He is currently 7th in the championship, matching with Nico Hülkenberg in the Force India. Both of them with 72 points. Jenson Button in 7th and Hülkenberg 8th. If we look down to Kevin Magnussen, the Dane, and his teammate, he's got 39 points. But 39.6 points behind Kimi Räikkönen, who's in 11th, and Magnussen's in 12th. And people are saying that Magnussen should be replaced with Alonso, and people who say that annoy me because if you look into last year, Sergio Perez pretty much got fired from McLaren because he wasn't a good enough driver. Now, for me, that was probably one of the worst mistakes I've ever seen McLaren do. The reason why Sergio Perez was crap, let's say, last season was because of, well, the car. I mean, the car was nowhere. The car was absolutely nowhere. And nowhere as fast as it should have been. I was slow compared to the Red Bulls, compared to the Mercedes, compared to the Ferraris, compared to the Lotuses. And I was like literally Williams, but it wasn't as bad as Williams, but I was even competing with Williams and the Toro Rosso and the Sauber. I mean, McLaren historically should never compete with the middle of the field teams like Sauber, Toro Rosso, Force India, those kind of teams. Williams at that time, Williams is now pretty much on the top now, third in the constructors. Obviously not nowhere near Mercedes, but it's very close between them and Ferrari for the final for third place in the constructors. And McLaren's car wasn't good enough. Sergio Perez is a good driver. Okay, he might be young, but the reason why he hasn't been good over the past few years is because his car wasn't good. His car simply wasn't good, and he did move to Force India, which, yeah, well, a similar sort of story with Force. Well, I wouldn't say similar. So I mean, Force Indy's pretty much been the same throughout their history. Sergio is currently 10th ahead of Kevin Magnussen. Let's just say that. Okay, Magnussen is a younger driver. He's his first season in F1 after being graduated by McLaren to the F1 team. And I feel sorry for Sergio after 2013 season because I believe that he did not deserve to get sacked. I would have told McLaren to design a car. If I was Sergio Perez, I would have told him to design a car, have some balls, grow some balls, and say, design a car which will make me and Jensen compete for the championship. Since Lewis Hamilton left McLaren, they've been nowhere. Not a single podium. Okay, you could say their only podium, as far as I can remember, was in Australia, where Magnussen finished third. Well, promoted to second after Danny Ricciardo's unfortunate disqualification because some fuel flow meter said that he was using more fuel than other teams and what was legal, which was a shame. But Alonso joined McLaren, no chance, not in a million years. Look what happened in 2007. Ron Dennis hated Alonso. I mean, they probably thought that Alonso and Hamilton would be in a good partnership. Hamilton was the current GP2 driver back in 06. Alonso was the two-time world champion, Formula 1 world champion for Renault in 2005 and 2006, and they probably thought Alonso would be a good role model for Hamilton. And to be honest, Hamilton was a good role model to Alonso. Nobody was expecting. Well, probably some people were. Majority of the grid was not expecting Hamilton to be that competitive. Was it third place in his first race in Australia in 2007, and nearly losing the world championship by 1 point because of dodgy car in Brazil. I mean, people underestimate. Hamilton, and well, he won the championship next year, the following year, and McLaren hasn't really caught up ever since the dominance of Red Bull. I don't know. Well. Now Mercedes in that caught up. I mean, Mercedes definitely, for me, has won the Constructors' World Championship. Their drivers will win the World Championship. Well, technically, mathematically, it's possible that Daniel Ricciardo can win the championship as well. But he has a lot of work to do, and he needs to have a lot of luck that the Mercedes will blow up in every single race. But I'll be interested to see. And yes, Verstappen, he will be, well, the youngest F1 driver on the grid next year, the youngest F1 driver in history, 17 years old. Now, 17 years old, I was in 6th year in high school, or my final year in high school. I was doing my high qualifications. I was in school, and Verstappen will become an F1 driver. I mean, come on, how's that even fair? I mean, it's only a matter of time before we see F1 drivers are probably about 10 years old or something. It's obviously huge congratulations, a huge amount of respect to Verstappen. I mean, following in from his dad. I forgot his name, but yeah, Verstappen will be replacing Verne next season at Toro Rosso, which is a shame. Verne is another driver that people underestimate. He's good and not good. I think Red Bull did make the good decision of signing Ricciardo for the season. I mean, they nailed it. He nailed that signing, and they thought, let's just see if Vettel kick his ass. And it was actually Ricciardo who kicked his ass. Ricciardo's third in the World Championship, Vettel's fifth. I don't even say it was with reliability, just that for me, Ricciardo is the better driver. The end. Mercedes is worried about reliability. We've seen what happened to Nico Rosberg last weekend in Singapore. It was just literally everything failed bit by bit on his car, and it was actually quite surprising. I mean, so far throughout the second half of the season, Mercedes-powered cars, let's say Mercedes specifically, Mercedes-AMG Petronas, they have been struggling quite a lot with reliability. And this is the part of the season in which the engine parts will be old, the cars will be old, they're going to the limit of 5 components pairs for the season. I mean, the rules state that, well, there's probably, I think it was in my head, remember, 6 parts, 6 main parts that make the power unit. I mean, the complete engine, the energy recovery system, the turbo, the gearbox, all that kind of stuff. The fundamental parts of the engine, or fundamental parts of the car, of the back of the car, the engine, all that kind of stuff. The teams are allowed to use 5 of each part. I mean, they could replace like an old turbo with a new engine and that kind of stuff. They could do that, but the limit is 5. And some teams, in fact, have already breached it. I think Red Bull with Sebastian Vettel. I think Mercedes is pretty much getting there. And it's just, I think Lotus must have breached it by now. I mean, terrible what happened to Lotus this season. That's quite unfortunate. Probably was Maldonado's fault, but anyway, just Merc is worried about reliability, and talking about Mercedes, I believe they could possibly win the World Championship, the constructors this weekend, or possibly next weekend in Russia, at Sochi. I'm pretty much going to be travelling around the Olympic Park there. But it's the first win for Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Historically, it's a Red Bull track. I mean, looking at the replay so far, it's a fast track with lots of fast corners. Tire compounds this weekend is medium and hards, the hardest 2 of the slick tires, and obviously it's mediums and wets. And I find really to the weather forecast for this weekend, but because of the humid nature of Japan, if it does rain, it will rain stupendously, because of the humid nature of Japan, where it is in the world. So it's so obviously I will be bidding for Lewis Hamilton to win this weekend. I mean, 3 points separating both Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. The only time I've seen a World Championship go down to the wire like this, well, between teammates, is obviously with Nico Rosberg, with Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. It is going to be close. I mean, this is definitely, if you haven't seen F1 before, you have to stick it down with it. So anyway guys, that's the end of this preview. Thanks for watching. This has been GT5K101, and I shall see you later.